Takadosh Boker Or Masechet Ketubot Daf Samechet Amud Bet. We're going to do today actually Samech Vav, which is 66, right? But we're going to start from Samechet Amud Bet, the Mishnah, the new chapter. We always like to open up a new chapter, which means it doesn't matter what happened in the past, right? We always open up a new chapter. Okay? Fine. Let's go. So says the Gemara. Yeah? Says the Gemara as follows. Mitziat Isha. We're talking about now Mitziat Isha, whatever a woman comes and she finds. Right? Let's say she finds something. Right? Uma'aseh yadea. Yeah? She finds a lost object. What do you think? She found her husband. Yeah? So he comes and he says, if the woman finds a lost object, whatever she makes in money, leba'ala, husband. You heard? Yeah. It goes to the husband.
Anything she makes in excess?
And no, anything she makes in general. He's going to eat perot during her lifetime. Okay? But the keren is still hers, meaning the principal belongs to hers, but he gets the perot. Yeah? Boshta. Ufkama. Yeah, Boshet. Ufkama. Right? What does that mean? The money of Boshet and Gam. So if a person comes and they hit her, and because of that, they have to pay the 5 damages. Yeah, somebody comes and he hits her. Yeah, and he comes. Somebody punches her, beats her up, whatever it is. So the Boshet, her,
not the husband.
No, it's not the husband. Somebody else, right? Boshta Ufkama Shela. Boshet Ufgam belongs to her. The embarrassment, and the pagam belongs to her. Rabbi Yehuda argues and he says, no, if it's going to be in a private place, she gets 2/3 and he gets 1/3. But if it's going to be in a public place, for example, her face, right, or whatever it is, lo shne chalakim, right? He comes and he says it's going to be 2 chalakim. No. He says he's going to take 2 chalakim, and she gets 1, right? Shelo yinatem miyad. The chelek of his, it's 100% his, but hers, yilakach ba'en karka, he purchases a piece of land, vehu ochel perot, and he's going to buy the perot. Everyone understood what we're talking about until now? So now says the Gemara, what exactly is the Mishnah trying to teach us? Tanina, we learned this above. Memvav Amud Bet, we went and we said, Ha'av Zakai Bebito. The father is going to come and is going to be Zochen, his daughter. Bekidushah, whether Kiddushin, Bekesev V'shtar Biyah, whether it's going to be, he's going to get the money, the shtar, and the Biyah, which means he's permitted to give his daughter over for Biyah, to have relations in order to get married through relations. The father is going to be Zachai, whatever she finds, whatever the daughter finds in her work, and Afaran Darim. Mekabelet Gita, he receives her get. But he doesn't eat the fruits. In her lifetime. And he said, when she gets married, the Baal gets an extra thing. So you see from here that everything that we just learned in this Mishnah, we already learned in a previous Mishnah. So what are we coming to teach you? Answers the Gemara, the entire Mishnah was coming to teach you about Boshet and Gam. Boshet, embarrassment, and Gam defect. That was the entire Mishnah. The pluk that Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan, and some of between Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanan. Tanim Tanakam Rava, so they learned in front of Rava, Mitziata Isha Latzma. So according to what they taught in front of the Bright taught in front of Rava, they said that whoever finds, if she finds something, it belongs to her. However, the Rabbi Akiva Omer, the Bala. Rabbi Akiva says it goes to her husband. So Elmaleh, so Rava comes and now he says, Hashta Uma Dafa. If to do Ma'aseh Yadayim, whatever she does more than what she really is chayevet to do. Yeah? Samech Vav Amud Aleph on the top, 66a. Maaseh Yadeahi, right? At the end of the day, it's Maaseh Yadea. And therefore, right, the husband should get it. Amar Rabbi Akiva Latzma, but still Rabbi Akiva in that situation says it belongs to her. If she works, and instead of making 20, 30, 50, whatever it is, she made 150. Yeah? Imagine you made 150,000. Yeah. So what happens? So all of a sudden, so in that case, the excess goes to her. So kalvachom and mitziyah, which a mitziyah is basically something that she finds, it should go to her. So the Tanakh goes, we learned in the Mishnah, if a person comes and he makes a kunam that he doesn't want to benefit from anything, right? Which means that all his maaseh yadai are going to be a surimana, just like a korban. You don't have to do a faran nedarim. But Kiva says, you do have to do a faran nedarim. Why? Maybe you're going to make more, right? And there's going to be excess. So says the Gemara, you're right. You have to flip it. What do you mean flip it? The first part of the right that says that whatever she finds goes to the husband. Rabbi Akiva says, it goes to her. Okay? When Ravin came from Babel, he said in the name of Yochanan, so he came to Babel, this is what he said in the name of Yochanan, no, we're talking about that it's extra that she doesn't need. It's not that she's becoming cheap in order to save money. She's got extra money, mamash. It's a surplus. You understand? Yeah? Then everyone agrees that it belongs to the husband. What about hadafa that's al yedei hadachak? Which means that mamash, she overdid herself. What happens now? Meaning, if it's that she's very quick, and therefore she gets a very big maskoret, so for sure that extra goes to the husband. Why? She didn't have to do anything extra. Right? This is what she just, it's like listen,
she did overtime.
What happens if she does overtime and it's very difficult for her? That's what we just said. It's hadafa lidei dachat. It's hadafa. It's extra. But she had to mamash push herself to do it. Tanakama says that it goes to the husband. Rabbi Akiva savar le'atzman. Rabbi Akiva says it goes to her. So Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa comes and he says, so therefore the same thing should be mitziyat isha. So he says, Amar Rav Papa mitziyat the says what? According to Rav Papa, he comes and he says the mitziyah is like hadafa lidei dachak. And therefore, it's plukta Rabbi Akiva ve Rabbanan. It's a machlok between Rabbi Akiva and the rabbis. Okay. Says the Gemara, by Rav Papa. Rav Papa comes and he asks the following question: Astalo shtayim bevat achat mao. What happens if a person is coming and she's doing 2 melachot in one shot? Yeah, exactly. So what's halacha? Is she considered a melacha? Yeah, is it considered a melacha? Is it considered like hadafali l'dachak or not? Never goes to her or not? So by Ravina comes and he says, what about shlosha or arba bevat achat? Yeah, you like this one, huh? Well, she's doing 3 or 4 jobs at once.
But this here,
huh?
She's multitasking. Here it says if she did 2 tasks for the husband.
Of course. She's doing all these things for the
She's not getting paid. It wasn't care about that.
No, but at the end of the day, the melacha that she's doing, right? She's making money on it. So that money that she's making is that like considered alafa. He comes and he says this. So by Ravina comes and he asks the following question: Shlosha or arba bevat achat. You have 3 or 4 jobs in one shot. Mahu, what's the halacha? Teiku. We don't have an answer. So if right now, even on 3 or 4, we don't have an answer, so therefore we don't have an answer, not even on 2, nothing. We do not have an answer on the extra money. Okay? Fine. Next. Boshta uvgama. We're talking about the Boshet Gam. 2 dots. You have it? 2 dots. Last words on the line. Boshta uvgama. Okay? Says the Gemara. Matkif la Rava bar Chanan. Ask Rava bar Chanan. Ela me'ata, we're going to ask the following question. Biesh susato shel chavero. Imagine right now I come and I embarrass the horse, right, of the friend. Yeah? So he comes and he says, what? You have to pay him? You understand?
Wow. That's
so ask the Gemara. Versus Barboshetu. Says what? Does the horse get embarrassed? Says the Gemara. He comes and he says, right, what does that mean? Not the horse himself. The owners of the horse. Meaning, do you think that the owner of the house, not the chamor, right? Do you think that the owner of the sus is going to be embarrassed for what's going on?
the chamor of the sus.
Exactly. Rather, ela rakak bevigdo shel chavero. If somebody comes and he spits in somebody's clothing. Yeah, he came and he spat on somebody's clothing. Hachanami debai lemeta leboshet. Are you going to tell me that you have to? Shh. Are you going to tell me now that you have to also give boshet? right? Maybe yes. You have to give boshet. He spat at your clothing. But now we learned to the Mishnah, rakak. Yeah, rakak. Somebody spat in his face, right? V'giya borok, and then they hit him. Ufara rosha isha. Or they came and they pulled off a woman's head covering in public, right? They wanted to be embarrassed her. So boom, they went, boom, they took it off. Yeah. Ve'avir talito, right? They went, they were ma'avir the talit mimenu, which means they come, they pulled off his clothing. Yeah, they went, whoops. Yeah, in public. Chayav litel lo 400 zuz. You know how much 400 zuz is? If 200 zuz is the ketubah, which is the salary of 1 year, you know what 400 zuz is? Double that. So if you even tell me that let's say it was 25,000, 50,000, whatever it is,
or you can
do
payments.
What? No. Yeah. The Amar of Papa. So says Rav Papa. Loshanu. What are we dealing with? Ella bo. That's with his body. But to do with the clothing, which means if he spat in his face or on his body, you have to pay. But if it was at the clothing, patur, you're going to be patur. So you see from here that you only pay boshet when you're pogea. You only get paid the embarrassment if you're pogea bo, but not in something else. Only in the person and not in something else. So answers the Gemara, bevigdo let leziluta. He comes and he says in the clothing, there's no embarrassment. And that's why the guy's going to be patur. Beishto lezuluta. Your wife, we're not going to compare now your wife to your clothing because in a sense, she's your property. No. Your wife, there's a ziluta. And the fact that there's a bizayon, you could obligate him also on busha, which is going to be caused afterwards. So means even by a woman, there's busha. So therefore, what's going to happen? Right? You would have to pay up. So Elmaleh Ravina Ravashi says Ravina to Ravashi. We're going to ask the following question: B'yesh ani ben tovim dilu zuluta lekulu ben mishpacha. Hachana mitba lemeta nubosh locho mishpacha. Says I don't understand you. According to you, if you're going to compare this case of the woman, if somebody's going to come and embarrass an ani ben tovim, so now the embarrassment is not only on the ani, it's from the entire family. So now what? You have to pay the entire family bullshit. Bullshit is only for the person himself, not for the entire family. So Elmaleh says no. Hatam lav gufayhu. They're not part of his body. This is the musar of today. Your wife is your body. She's nechshevet kigufo. And therefore, when you're going to come, you're going to be pogea in the wife of somebody. It's like you're pogea bebal begufo. And that's why you're going to be obligated to come to pay boshet. Capish until here? Very good. Mishnah, new Mishnah. Haposek maot lechatano. Imagine right now somebody comes and he's posek money to his son. He's going to have that his daughter is getting married. So as a dowry, he comes and he says, "Okay, for my son-in-law, here it is." Boom. He gives him the big bucks. Umet chatano. And now before the wedding, right, the son-in-law passes away. Yeah, and now she falls into yibum to the brother. Now the yavam wants the money. Samru Chachamim says Chachamim, Yacholu Shiamar, the father of the Kala could say, he wanted to give to the brother, but I don't want to give you. Meaning that you see from here that the father of the girl could say, listen, I wanted to give to his Chatan, but he didn't want to give it to the brother. So therefore, right, he doesn't want. Pascal lo 1,000 dinar. Imagine right now he comes and he says, I'm going to give you 1,000 dinar. So now, in such a case, in the ketubah, he's going to accept upon himself 15 mana, okay, which is going to be 1,500 dinar, which is a tosefet. And opposite, that which they are going to evaluate, okay, he's going to deduct 1/5, okay. Shum, if right now she brought in, let's say metaltalin, different movable objects, and they did a shuma. Shuma is like an evaluation. B'mana. So he says, En lo ela mana. So therefore, you're only going to get a mana. What does that mean? You cannot ask for anything extra, right, in order to pay back. Shum b'maneh, he notenet 31 sela v'dinar. So right now, if they went and she accepted, right, that basically he's accepting upon himself that it was going to be a maneh that she's bringing in. So therefore, she's going to give 31 sela v'dinar, which is going to be 125 dinarim. So it comes out that he's posek dam is actually going to be less than 1/5. So if it's going to be 400, so she's going to be 500. Ma shechatan posek, hu posek pachot chomesh. Whatever the chatan is going to give, he's actually going to give 1/5 less than what we just mentioned. Says the 66b, says the Gemara. We're not talking about the first guy, the first chatan with the tamid chacham, and the yavam is an amaretz, and therefore that's why the Avi Akala does not want to give him the money, because he's saying, why is he going to give the money to the amaretz? The first one, the tamid chacham, he wanted him to sit and learn all his life, so fine, so he's giving you money. Here, why? Even if the first one is going to be an amaretz. The second one is tamid chacham. He could say, I wanted to get to your brother. I didn't want to give to you. That's what he could say. Right? Why? Because it could be that the first one had better midot, or for another reason, or whatever. Just like, he just didn't want. Okay, so therefore, fine. So now, right, the Gemara says, we said in the Mishnah, Paska lachnis lo 1,000 dinar, and then he's going to do it less than 1/5. So says the Gemara, Hainu Reisha. Why? Did you realize that in the Mishnah, there's going to be 4 different parts, which is on the same ikaron? Basically, the chatan is going to give less 1/5 from the true value. Meaning, the kala is coming and she's bringing in properties. Yeah. You evaluate the properties, and then you come and you say, okay, fine, I'm giving you less 1/5. Right? And by the way, this isn't even until today. There's something which is called a nedunya, right? In the ketubah. So what is a nedunya? The nedunya is, what does she bring into the marriage? So therefore, you would evaluate it. So obviously, if a woman's rich, so therefore, she would put down a much bigger nedunya, because you're receiving much more money, obviously. You understand? And that's what's going on. So you're receiving much more money. So here it says, right, that there's 4 different k'tayim. Number 1, keneged hashum hu posek pachot michomesh. Number 2, shum b'maneh, he's going to give maneh v'ravia, which is a 1 1/4. Arba meot, she's giving 500, right, which is again the extra 1/5, right? Mashechatan posek, he's doing less, 1/5. So basically, we're learning all these things here again. So answers the Gemara, Tana Shuma Rabba, V'ktani Shuma Zuta, Tana Shuma Didei, V'ktani. No, there were 4 different types of valuations. Number 1, they talked a big amount, right? So very, very, very big amount. Number 2, a small amount. Then number 3, Shuma of his, meaning what is he bringing in? And number 4, Shuma Dida, what is she bringing in? Which means each one mitzad the kala. So because of that, we wanted to come and to evaluate everything which was coming. Therefore, there's different evaluations, and that's why the Mishnah had all the different evaluations. Mishnah on Samech Vav Amud Bet, Paska lachnis lo ksafim, right? For example, sal'ah, right? Imagine right now the kala comes and she says she's going to bring into the nedunya money. What type of money? Cash. Yeah. So therefore, which is going to be a sal'ah, which is 4 dinarim. Shisha danim. So now here it becomes like 6 dinarim, right? So here all of a sudden we're adding onto it, meaning we're not appreciating the value, we're adding on to the value. She's bringing in liquids. Yeah. So the chatan is going to now come and he's going to put 10 dinarim for the kupa for every single maneh, which means that the maneh that he's bringing into the dunya, he's going to give 10 dinarim to the kupa. No, everything depends on the minhag medina. Okay, so let's see the Gemara. Says the Gemara, Hainu kenegdam, right? Chamisha asar maneh, which means that it's going to be 15 maneh, which is 1,500. So now here he's going to add on extra. Why? We already know this. Tana iskaraba v'tana iskazuta. Again, we taught the big amount and the small amount. We needed both. Di tana iskaraba, if you would have taught me a big amount, tenafi shavcha, because then you're going to make a lot more money. Aval iskazuta, but if it's a small amount, zuta rabcha, that you can't make so much money. I would say no. So tzricha, that's why you need both of them. Yes, when it's zuta, that if it was only written in a small amount, the zuta is ziuna, because you're only going to make such a small amount. But iskaraba, you're going to make such a big amount. Elmaleh would say that you don't have to obligate yourself to put more money. Tzricha, that's why you need both of the cases. Next, 2 dots in the Mishnah, right? If we're on the Mishnah, when the Mishnah says a chatan is going to be mekabel alav 10 dinar lekupa. My kupa, what does it mean kupa? Ravashi kupa shel besamim, the kupa which is needed for her perfumes, which means that he has to give more money for that. Ravashi is alone. It's only going to be in Yerushalayim, which used to have a minhag that they used to put on a lot of besamim, right? Besamim merubim. So Rashi brings down. Okay, but in other places it would give less, because basically it all depends on the minhag. If the minhag was that used to put on a lot of perfumes, so that's what they used to have. So by Ravashi comes and he asks the following questions: B'maneh hanishom or b'maneh mitkabel? Are you going to tell me now that we have to put 10 dinarim for every single 100 in the maneh, which is going to be nishom, which is going to be evaluated, or in the maneh mitkabel, in the one which is going to be that you accept. So even if you're going to tell me when I mean to kabel Yom Rishon, the first day of Nisuin, or is it every single day? So even if you're going to tell me now it's every single day, Shabbat Rishonah, is it going to be only the first week, or Kol Shabbat v'Shabbat? And if you're going to tell me Kol Shabbat v'Shabbat, are you going to tell me the first month or every single month? Even if you're going to tell me Kol Chodesh v'Chodesh, right? What about it? Is it only the first year or every single year? Answers the Gemara, we don't know. Meaning there's so many different doubts that we're not sure. Meaning you have to come and you have to give the tzedakah. It's kilu, it's a tzedakah. It's like an allowance for perfumes. But what? It's once a month. It's every single month. It's the first year. It's the first every single day for the first week. We don't know. There's just so many. How many perfumes? Says there was a story with the daughter of Nakdimon ben Gurion. Remember, obviously, we're talking about Nakdimon ben Gurion was one of the richest people in Eretz Yisrael. The Chachamim came and they gave him a psak. 400 זהובים לקופה של בשמים לבוא ביום. You needed 400 zehuvim, golden coins, for the kupa of besamim just for one day. Amra lahem, so she went and she told them, Kach tifseku livnotechem. This is what you should give to your own daughters. Ve'anu achareh, amen. Right? So therefore, because for her, it was a very, very small amount. So she cursed the Chachamim that that's what they should give, right, for your own daughters. But the Chachamim went and they said that for them it's the biggest beracha. That halvai that we should give to our daughters 400 zuvim just for besamim, just for perfumes a day. Yeah. So for her it was a small amount, but for them it was they answered amen. Right, but for them it was the biggest beracha.
Is that a day? Because it says
fine. There's a very famous story. There was a story of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai that he was riding on the donkey, and he was coming out of Jerusalem. And the students were going behind him, and he saw this young maiden, young lad, right, young maiden, right, a young woman, right, maiden, that's the word, right, that she was taking barley between the excrement of the Arabs' animals. Okay? You guys pay attention. Yeah.
How poor she was.
Kevan shira'ata ota, when he saw her, itatfa besara, she covered herself, amda. She went in front of him, Amralo, she said, Rabbi parneseni. She said, Rabbi, give me parnasa. Amarla, he told her, Biti miat, who are you? Amralo, she told him, Bat Nakdimon ben Gurion. I'm the daughter of Nakdimon ben Gurion. Amarla, he told her, Biti, Mamon shebet, where did all the money go? Amrala, she told him, Rabbi, lo keden matlim matla b'Yerushalayim. He says, what? There was no kilu moshlim in Yerushalayim. What does that mean? Melach, mamon, chesed. What does that mean? What you give away for the tzedakah, it's moleach and mekayim, the rest of the money. So since the father did not give tzedakah properly, his money left.
Wow.
Are you guys listening? The guy had so much money, but the fact that at the end of the day, right, he didn't, that's it. It was all chesed. Okay, fine. So says the Gemara, the Amrila, some people say it's chesed. Melach mamon chesed. Right, it's chesed. So, so yes, okay, fine. What about the money of your father-in-law? Amra lo, she told him, Ba'azeh, the money of the father came, the Iberet Zen, destroyed the money of the father-in-law as well, because it was mixed up together. So Amra lo, she said to him, right, Rabbi, do you remember when you signed on my ketubah? Amar lahen letalmidav, he told his students, I remember when I signed on a ketubah, and I was reading, hundreds of thousands of dinarev, golden coins from her father's house, besides her father-in-law. Meaning her father-in-law, that means that's besides it. That means obviously she got married also to a very wealthy person. Bachar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai started crying, and he said, Ashrechem Israel, fortunate is Israel. Why? Because when you guys do the Ritzono Shel Makom, en koluma ve'lashon sholet b'hem, nobody could conquer you. Meaning when we are doing the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nobody could touch us. We are untouchable. But when we are not doing Ritzono Shel Makom, Mosram biyadu mashfelad is going to give us in the hands of an ummah shefala, right, which is going to be right of a very low. Even in the hands of the animals of an ummah shefala, right? So says the Gemara, "V'nadimu ben Gudyon lo avad tzedakah." He says, "What? You're going to tell me that the woman Gudyon didn't give tzedakah?" That Tanya, we learned on the bright when he used to go outside of his house, lebeta midrash, the beta midrash, clean milat. He used to take expensive semer, expensive wool clothing. Yeah, hayu matzin tachtav. They would put it on beneath him, right? Ubaina neim umekaplim otam me'acharav. That means basically they used to come and used to put out like silk clothing, right? They were made of wool, and then the aniyim used to come and used to take those clothing. So you see from here that Bemet, he was doing a lot of tzedakah. You know what it is? They were coming, they were taking all of that. That's what they used to use for clothing. Answers the Gemara, Ibaiteima, Samach Zayin Amud Aleph, 67a, it says, Lichvodo Udavad. He did it for his own kavod. He didn't do it for tzedakah. Tzedakah is only you do it, if you do it for the tzedakah, then you get the power that it's going to watch over your money. But if not,
like that.
then no. Ibaiteima, if you want, you could answer, Kid Amad, right? Just like it says, he didn't do the normal amount. Just like people say, according to the gamal, according to the horsepower, or here it's a camel power, that's what you have to give, which means that it could be that maybe he gave millions, but maybe he had to give billions. It all depends on the amount of money that he has. So that's why he lost all his money. Have a wonderful day.